Most people believe discipline is something you acquire, like a technique or a habit you can install into your life. They search for it in books, in routines, in external systems, and they become frustrated when it never stays with them. What they do not realize is that the discipline they seek cannot be learned in the usual way, because it is not something you add to yourself. It is something that remains after everything unnecessary has been removed. What follows is not advice, and not motivation, but an observation drawn from an older and quieter understanding of the human mind. Long before discipline was treated as a productivity tool, it was understood by Japanese warriors as a condition of being. Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's most famous swordsman, did not speak of discipline as effort, but as alignment. In his final work, the Decade, he did not list goals or methods, but renunciations. He taught that the mind becomes strong not by accumulating techniques, but by shedding dependency, attachment, and illusion. This is the discipline that cannot be taught, because it only appears when the self stops interfering. Chapter 1. The man who wanted discipline. There was a man in his mid-30s who believed discipline was the missing piece in his life. He was not lazy, and he was not ignorant, but he was constantly starting and stopping, building and abandoning, promising himself change and then watching it dissolve. He organized his days carefully, studied systems of improvement, and surrounded himself with instructions. Yet beneath all of this structure, there was a quiet instability, a sense that nothing was rooted deeply enough to endure. He believed his problem was a lack of force, so he applied more force. He woke earlier, pushed harder, and demanded more from himself. But this only created a constant tension. His mind became a place of negotiation and resistance, not clarity. The more he tried to control himself, the more fragmented he became. Discipline felt like something external that he had to drag into his life each day. Chapter 2. The old teaching. One evening he encountered a short passage from Musashi's writings, where Musashi spoke of the way not as something to chase, but something to stop obstructing. He described a mind that does not hesitate, does not cling, and does not argue with itself. This mind was not emotional, not cold, not intense, but settled. It moved without friction, because nothing inside it pulled in a different direction. This idea unsettled him because it reversed everything he had assumed. He had been trying to build discipline on top of a restless identity. When the warriors built clarity by dissolving the identity that created restlessness, the warrior did not train to become disciplined, but trained to become simple. Simplicity, in this sense, was not minimalism of possessions, but minimalism of inner conflict. Chapter 3. The practice of removal. The man stopped trying to improve himself and instead began to observe what weakened him. He noticed how often he reached for distraction, how often he spoke when silence was enough, how often he sought reassurance from others rather than standing alone in uncertainty. These were not moral failures, but signs of dependency. Each dependency weakened the mind's ability to remain still under pressure. He began removing one small thing at a time, not dramatically, not heroically, but quietly. He stopped checking for validation. He stopped explaining himself unnecessarily. He stopped negotiating with impulses that he knew were empty. With each removal, something stabilized inside him. There was less internal noise, less argument, and less need for control. Chapter 4. The shift. After months of this quiet subtraction, something changed without announcement. He noticed that he no longer needed to force himself into action. When something needed to be done, it was simply done. When something did not matter, it was easily ignored. There was no pride in this, and no feeling of power, only a calm steadiness. This was not willpower, and not motivation. It was alignment. His actions no longer fought his values, and his values no longer competed with his desires. The mind had become like a still lake, reflecting what was in front of it without distortion. This was what the warriors meant by discipline, not as control, but as the absence of inner division. Chapter 5. The quiet conclusion. The discipline that cannot be taught is not a skill and not a personality trait. They taught silence, simplicity, endurance, and honesty with oneself. When those are present, discipline appears on its own, as quietly and reliably as breath. It is not something you become, but something you stop preventing.